Hello everyone, welcome to the Safe Circle Global. Today I am going to I am going to brief you regarding the Nebosh IG1 exam which was held on 17th January 2024. This closing interview is very important for all the candidates who already have gone their IG1 exam. This interview is important because the interviewer will check what knowledge you have achieved through this examination paper and writing the answer sheet. So let's be with me. Gentlemen, in this interview preparation, I have three parts for you people. In part one, I will explain you the summary of the scenario so that you would able to understand what basically the situation was asked into the scenario. In part two, I will make you understand the scenario situation in different steps with images to explain each point clearly to all of you. And in part three, I will explain few questions and their answers as well, so that you could prepare yourself for those questions and be ready for the answers as well. So this is the part one. Basically, in part one, I am going to explain you the summary of the situation because it's a scenario-based examination. Nebosh gives you a scenario situation with the tasks which they ask from every candidate, and they allow you to consult with the relevant materials, study materials, but the questions are very tricky. So you have to first understand the scenario situation clearly, only then you will be able to write the exact and right answers. So let's begin with the understanding of the summary of the situation or the scenario. So gentlemen, basically it's a situation of a large international airport where people from all over the world travel. It's a place filled with activity, with planes taking off and landing, passengers rushing to catch flights, and bags being moved around. At this airport, there is a complex system to handle passenger bags. The bags need to be sorted, loaded onto planes, and delivered to the right destination. But sometimes things don't go smoothly among the workers handling bags. There are near misses. These are situations where something almost goes wrong. For example, a bag might be placed on the wrong conveyor belt, or two bags might collide. These near misses show that there could be safety issues. Within the team of workers, there is an informal hierarchy. Some workers are more experienced, having worked at the airport for a long time, like worker C. Others are newer and still learning, like worker B. Unfortunately, worker B faces unequal treatment. Worker C bullies them and unfairly assigns tasks. The operation supervisor, who is in charge of the organizing everything, sometimes forgets important information. For instance, there is a contractor coming to work at the airport, but the supervisor does not tell the team. This lack of communication causes problems. Additionally, he fails to properly explain the layout differences to the contractor, which leads to the confusion. One day, worker B is rushing to meet deadlines. They exceed the speed limit while moving bags. At the same time, a contractor runs across a roadway seeking assistance. Unfortunately, worker B's path collides with the contractor, resulting in an accident. The contractors got injured. This accident highlights safety concerns. It shows that better communication is needed among the team members. Fair task distribution is essential to avoid overburdening any worker. And most importantly, everyone must follow safety protocols to prevent accidents. In simple terms, this story is about mistakes, tensions, and the urgent need for improved safety practices at the airport. Now, I will explain you The second part, in this part, I will try to make you understand the situation in more clarity with point-to-point explanation. So first point is that it's an airport, large international airport. Here, there is a work of handling baggage of 1 lakh daily. And these bags are handled through a BHS, baggage handling system. It is a automated conveyors, move bags from check-ins to security and distributions, as you can see in the image, that conveyors move the baggages to the required destination. So baggage handling unit of this airports is divided into 3 zones, each managed by a supervisors with a team of up to 20 airport loading agents. So there are 3 zones, zone A, zone B, and zone C. In each zone, there are distribution points where aircraft loading agents pick up the bags and move to the aircraft to their designated place where they store the bags ready for the flight. Also, we can see that there are marked roadways, pedestrian roads, and safety signs for workers and passenger protection, because from the distribution point to the area where the bags are stored into the plane, there is a difference of way. So the ALAs, the airport loading agents, move their bags into a tow truck with a cart, and they move in their way. There are pedestrian routes as well, and signs and worker passenger protection are placed. Pressure and near misses. High workload to deliver bags on time leads to increased near misses. We see in this scenario that the worker B, who was assigned on a task at distribution point, and the worker B was new, he was young, he was the only one who was assigned by the senior worker C to send the bags from the distribution point to the designated airport loading area. So this was there was a pressure on the worker B to complete his task, because this is a busy airport. So every flight has to depart according to its timing. So we also see that there is a unofficial hierarchy of workers. Here we see that experienced worker like C have informal authority over newer workers, for example, worker B. Although the supervisor of the zone C did not allocate duty to worker C, but worker C assumed himself that he is the senior-most, so he has the right to be the in charge of the shift in absence of the real operational supervisor. As we see from the scenario, that when the contractor arrived, the operation supervisor went to receive him, left the whole shift on alone, and the worker C assumed himself the senior-most at that point. We also see that there was a fault in the conveyor in zone C, and the operation supervisor of this zone C called a private contractor, because the in-house repair and maintenance team was not able to repair that fault. That's why an outside contractor was called, a qualified contractor was called to rectify the fault. Communication breakdown. We see that supervisor tell worker C to manage distribution and announcements, but C forgets to announce the contractor's arrival. When the worker, when the operation supervisor went to receive the contractors, he asked the worker C that he should give safety briefing to its team on that day, but the worker C neglected that, and he did not inform the whole shift about the arrival of the contractor. Also, we see that the worker C was very unjust in distribution of the tasks. Unequal task distribution. C assigns worker B, new and young, to a challenging task alone, while others get preferred locations. So this was an unjust and unsafe behavior of the worker C, that although he knew that worker B is a new and young, and he is not properly trained and he should not be assigned alone on a difficult task, but he unjustly did this unjust act. Bullying and pressure to conform. Worker B is ridiculed for questioning the workload and feels pressures to comply. In this situation, in this scenario, we see that worker B, although he was reluctant to perform the duty at far off distribution point, he tried to question the worker C that I am alone and I cannot handle this difficult task, and you should assign someone else on this distribution point. But we see that there was a pressure on him by the worker C. When he tried to question him, the worker C threatened him that he should perform his duty as per the time. Otherwise, he will report to the operation supervisor, and there is a difficulty for him in his job as well. So worker B was very pressured. Supervisor oversight. We see that supervisor does not brief the contractor on zone layout differences and leaves them unsupervised. This was again a lacking of the operation supervisors. When the contractor arrived, he did not ensure that he should have a clear understanding and layout of the zone C. So he should not go around in the wrong area. But we see that worker, when the contractor arrived and he alone started to work and try to repair the conveyors, but there was no supervisor assigned on him to check that work is properly being done or not. Speeding and unsafe driving. Worker B, stressed about being late, drives the tow truck above the speed limit. This was again a problem when the worker B was feared about his duty at distribution point. And he was worried about the time, so he overspeedily ran his tow truck, and in the way he found the contractor was arriving there, and there was an accident. Contractor accidents. Contractor, as I told you, that the contractor when he repaired the conveyor, he went to look for the contractor, and mistakenly he came into the way where the worker B was running his tow trucks. So both were very unaware of the situation. They did not see the road and crossing and the safety signs. So they collided because the worker B was in hurry and he was overspeedily running the tow trucks. That was the reason they got an accident. When the accident happened, aftermath and injuries. Contractor suffers injuries, supervisor responds with first aid, and investigation. Worker B is sent home. When there was an accident between the worker B and the contractors, and upon hearing the emergency alarm, the operation supervisor arrived at site. He called for the first aider also arrived here, and they called the ambulance for emergency as well. The supervisor skewed the scene and asked for the detailed investigation, and also he treated the worker B. He assured him that he should take rest and go home. Now, I know the part 3, that is basically the question answer session for all these things. These questions will be asked, may be asked by the interviewer during your interview. So After having a clear idea about the scenario situation, you will be able to better respond to your interviewer. So, Jibran, the question one may be, what is safety culture and how influence of peers contributed negatively to this airport? So you can respond like this, that safety culture refers to the shared beliefs, values, and attitudes held by an organization and its employees towards safety. It influences how people behave, take risks, and prioritize safety in their daily work. And we see that in this scenario, several aspects of the safety culture contributed negatively to the health and safety culture of that airport or the organization. These are the points which show that the culture of that airport was negative. Number 1 point, the unequal task distribution and bullying. The informal hierarchy where experienced worker like C bullied newer worker B into accepting unequal and potentially unsafe tasks. Undermine a fair and just safety culture. This pressure to conform that and avoid questioning unsafe practices can lead to the workers taking unnecessary risks. Communication lapses. The supervisor's failure to properly communicate about the contractor's arrivals and lack of clear instructions on zone differences created confusion and increased the risk of incidents. Strong safety culture emphasizes clear and open communication to ensure everyone is aware of potential hazards and procedures. Focus on speed over safety. The pressure to deliver baggage quickly, highlighted by near misses, overshadowed safe work practices. This prioritization of speed can lead to shortcuts, risky behaviors, and ultimately accident, which actually happened at the airport. Lack of training and oversight. This was again another negative point of health and safety culture at the airport. The supervisor leaving the contractor unsupervised demonstrates a lack of proper training and oversight, jeopardizing safety. A strong safety culture ensures everyone, including contractors, receives proper training and guidance to work safely. Peer pressure and bystander intervention. Worker B, feeling pressure to fit in and avoid further bullying from C, did not raise concern about the unsafe workload. This highlights the importance of encouraging bystander interventions where workers feel empowered to speak up and challenge unsafe practices without fear of repercussions or consequences. Question number 2. What was wrong with the management of the contractor on this airport? As we see that when the contractor who was meant to repair the faulty conveyor at zone C, he was not properly managed. So what was the reasons? What were the reasons of that mismanagement? Number 1, lack of clear communication. The supervisor failed to inform the team about the contractor's arrival, which could have helped worker B avoid the accident. The supervisor did not brief the contractor on the specific layout differences in zone 3, leaving them potentially confused and disoriented. Inadequate supervision. The supervisor left the contractor unsupervised after failing to provide proper guidance, increasing the risk of accidents. The supervisor did not ensure clear communication pathways for the contractor to seek assistance, leaving them to navigate unfamiliar areas alone. Unidentified risks. The potential risks of contractor presence in the active baggage handling area, especially without proper training or awareness of traffic flow, was not addressed. The lack of a designated meeting point or communication protocol for contractors increased the chances of confusion and unexpected encounters. Question number 3. What is basically labor inspection and its function? This question was about the labor inspection, and it was a general inspection. So labor inspection ensures fairness and safety in the workplace. Labor inspection plays a crucial role in upholding fairness and safety in the workplace. It's a public function, often managed by a government agency that oversees the application of labor laws and regulations. So here are the breakdown of the key functions of the labor inspection. Key functions are enforcement. Inspectors visit workplaces to ensure compliance with labor laws in areas like minimum wage and overtime pay, workers' working hours and rest periods, occupational health and safety standards, anti-discrimination and harassment policies, child labor and laws, etc. If violations are found, inspectors can issue warning fines or even shut down operation in extreme cases. The other function of the labor inspection is prevention. So labor inspection goes beyond just responding to the problems. It actively promotes safe and fair work practices through providing guidance and information to employers and workers on their rights and obligations. Conducting educational campaigns and workshops on specific topics like workplace safety hazards or preventing harassments, collaborating with employers and worker organizations to develop and implement preventive measures. Investigation. When accident, injuries, or complaints occur, labor inspectors investigate to determine the cause and identify any violation of the law. They can interview witnesses, gather evidence, and make recommendations for corrective actions to prevent similar incidents from happening again. Advocacy, another function of the labor inspection. Labor inspectors play a vital role in advocating for improvements in labor laws and policies. They can share their insights and experiences with policymakers to help them understand the challenges faced by workers and employers. This helps to ensure that laws and regulations are effective, up to date, and address the real needs of the workforce. Question number 4. What signs would you expect to see in accessible areas of the airport? So this question is about the safety signs. If these signs could have been placed rightly, it was chance that no accident should be happened at that site. So these signs should be there at the airport. Safety warning signs like floor marking signs, brightly colored marking, for example, yellow diamonds indicating areas where pedestrians and vehicle traffic interacts, reminding everyone to be aware of the surroundings. Speed limit signs, clearly displayed speed limits for vehicles operating in these areas, along with reminders to pedestrians about safe crossing points. Weight limits on elevators and platforms to prevent overloading and potentially malfunctions. Hazard warning signs, highlighting specific hazards in certain areas like uneven surfaces, sharp turns, or pinch points. Fire exit and emergency assembly points, clearly marked and illuminated for everyone to locate easily in case of emergencies. Informational and directional signs. Designated walkways and routes, clearly marked pathways for both pedestrians and vehicles, visually distinct to avoid confusion. Information signs, highlighting specific safety protocols like mandatory personal protective equipment for workers in certain areas, or reminders for passengers to keep baggage secure. Directional signs, guiding passengers with disabilities to accessible restrooms, assistance points, and designated waiting areas. Signage explaining safety procedures, highlighting specific actions in case of emergencies like elevators, malfunctions, or medical incidents. Communication and assistance signs, call buttons and intercoms, easily accessible call buttons for requesting assistance in case of accidents or injuries, clearly visible for both workers and passengers. Signage indicating available languages. Informing passengers about accessible language assistance for communications and safety instructions. Emergency contact information. Clearly displayed contact information for airport security, medical personnel, and other emergency services. Question number 5. The supervisor safety meeting should include following points. As we see in the scenario that after the accident, the operations supervisor for a safety meeting, and there was a task in this scenario that what do you think that what points of that meeting should be in your opinion? So the response of this question is like that. The following topics should be included in the safety meeting. Number one, safety culture and communication. Reinforce the importance of safety. Emphasize that safety is the top priority over speed or efficiency. Discuss the accident as a learning opportunity and highlight its potential consequences. Open communication. Encourage workers to report unsafe practices, concerns, and near misses without fear of repercussions. Establish clear channels for communication like suggestion box or anonymous reporting system. Improve task allocation. Ensure fair and balanced distribution of tasks, considering experienced and workload. Address any instances of bullying or discriminatory behavior impacting task allocation. Training and procedures. Review safety procedures, reiterating existing safety protocols for operating vehicles, pedestrian movements, and interaction with contractors. Conduct training sessions to refresh knowledge and address any identified gaps. Contractor onboarding. Establish clear procedures for receiving and onboarding contractors, including zone-specific briefings on layout differences and safety protocols. Ensure contractor receive proper training and personal protective equipment. Emergency response. Review emergency response procedures for accidents and injuries, including clear roles and responsibilities for workers, supervisors, and first aid responders. Conduct emergency drills to practice these procedures. Equipment and environment. Vehicle safety checks. Implement regular inspections and maintenance schedules for tow trucks and other vehicles, ensuring they are in good working orders and meet safety standards. Signage improvement. Review and improve signage for speed limits, pedestrian crossings, and hazard warnings in accessible areas. Ensure signs are clear, visible, and multilingual. Traffic flow management. Assess traffic flow patterns and consider implementing physical barriers or designated zones to separate pedestrians and vehicle movement, especially in the high-risk areas. Question number 6. How are the incidents reported? This question was regarding the reporting of the incidents. So this method is followed in emergency reporting incident. Immediate reporting. Supervisor responsibility. Upon learning of the accidents, the supervisor has a primary responsibility to initiate the reporting process. This involves securing the scene, ensuring the injured contractor receives medical attention and the area is safe for other workers. Initial documentation, recording basic details like date, time, location, and a brief description of the incident. Notification, immediately informing relevant parties like airport management, health and safety officers, and potentially emergency services. Detailed investigations. Internal investigation. Airport safety team or a designated investigator conducts a thorough investigation to understand the root cause of the accidents. This involves collecting evidences, statements from the involved individuals, reviewing CCTV footage, analyzing your equipment involved, identifying contributing factors, examining unsafe practices, communication lapses, training gaps, or equipment malfunctions, developing recommendations, proposing action to prevent similar incidents, including revisions to procedures, planning needs, or infrastructure improvement. Official report, how the supervisor will report officially to the external agencies. Accident report, a formal report with details of the incident and investigation findings is compiled and submitted to relevant authorities. This might be regulatory agencies, depending on the country. Labor safety or workplace safety agencies may require detailed reports of certain incidents. Insurance companies, if workers' compensations or liability insurance is involved, claims might require detailed incident reports. Internal records, the airport keeps its own record for future references, analysis, and trend identification. Question number 7. It's about supervisors and workers' failures of their roles and responsibility at the airport. Because the accident happened, that means both supervisors and the worker failed to perform their duties appropriately. So, supervisor failures. Number one, communication lapses. Failing to inform the team about the contractor's arrival, leading to unexpected encounter with worker B. Neglecting to properly brief the contractor on zone layout differences, increasing confusion and risks. Unequal task distribution and bullying. Allowing an informal hierarchy where experienced workers see bullying newer worker B into accepting unfair and potentially unsafe tasks. Not intervening to address the unequal and potentially risky workload assigned to worker B. Inadequate supervision, leaving the contractors unsupervised, creating an opportunity for confusion and accidents. Not ensuring clear communication pathways for the contractor to seek assistance. Now, I will explain the workers' failures. Number one is speeding and unsafe driving. Worker B exceeded the speed limit while driving the tow truck, likely due to pressure and stress about the late, lack of assertiveness and bystander interventions. The worker B not questioning the unfair workload or seeking help due to fear of bullying from worker C. Other workers potentially witnessing the unequal task distribution and bullying without intervention. And this was the problem, the main issue. The accident happened at the airport because of different collective reasons. I hope that you have enjoyed this learning, and if you want to prepare yourself, please watch this at least 2 or 3 times so that you could pick the main important points of all in this scenario, and you could have a fair understanding in your mind regarding each step, so that if any question is asked from you, that you may be able to respond appropriately. All the best for your upcoming interview. Thank you and take care.